Here we're going to produce something called cumulative frequency. In order to do this, we're going to consider the class 0 to 4 first. It has 7 pieces of data in it, so when we reach the end of this class, we've seen 7 pieces of data. We now consider the 5 to 9 class, which has 10 pieces of data in it. The cumulative frequency is 10 plus 7, which is 17. This is the amount of data from the beginning of the 0 to 4 class to the end of the 5 to 9 class. There's 23 pieces of data in 10 to 14. We do 17 plus 23, which is 40. This means that there are 40 pieces of data between 0 and 14. It's called cumulative frequency because we're accumulating as we go through the sets. 40 plus 18 is 58. So we have 58 pieces of data right the way from 0 through to 19. Then we do 58 plus 8, which is 66, and 66 add 4, which is 70. If we totaled the frequency column to find how many pieces of data we have, this would be 70, and these two numbers should be the same. We're now going to plot the cumulative frequency graph for this data. First, we need to consider these classes. Cumulative frequency is always plotted at end points, so we need to write down the upper class boundaries for each class. For 0 to 4, it's 4.5, 5 to 9, 9.5, 10 to 14, 14.5, 15 to 19, 19.5, 20 to 24, 24.5, and finally 29.5. We're now going to plot the graph on this graph paper. The cumulative frequency always goes on the vertical axis. Therefore, the number of visits will go on the horizontal axis. When we label the axes, despite the fact that the end points are at things like 4.5 and 9.5, we still label the axes in a sensible way. So therefore this will be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 and 30. Clearly on this scale, 4.5 would be 1 square before 5. For the vertical axis, going up to 70 pieces of data, we'll use 1 square to represent 10 pieces of data. So we plot at the upper class boundaries. That means the first point we plot will be at 4.57. We then plot 9.5, 17, 14.5, 40, 19.5, 58, 24.5, 66, and finally 29.5, 70. When we come to draw the graph, we can either join these points with a smooth curve or a series of straight line segments. I'm going to use straight line segments. We can start at the origin as there are no pieces of data before 0. So we continue and draw the graph as a series of straight line segments joining our points. This is a cumulative frequency graph, and we'll see more about these graphs later in the course.